Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the Business Banger Spotlight with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. And of course, you all know we have another fire person that is banging in business. But before we get into that, we must get those formalities out of the way. So, with that being said, this is how you can tell your family, friends, and followers to tune in to the show and to JQLM Radio 24/7. If this is your first time tuning into the show or to JQLM Radio and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, the Stream and Simple Radio app, and a host of other platforms of which you can find located on our website, where you can also listen live at egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us. We do follow back. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio. You can also connect with Ego Entertainment Network at EgoEntNet. That's EgoEntNet on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also. Also, connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel, Ego TV Network, at youtube.com/Ego TV Network. All right. Now that you all know how to tune in, let's go ahead and bring in our guest. And we have with us none other than Cami Red of Three Kings Ranch and Rehabilitation for Youth. Welcome to the show.
Greetings, and thank you for having me on the show today. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for being my guest on today. So before we get into it, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Okay, awesome. So originally, I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, but I am a current and happy resident of Texas. My name again is Cami Red. I am the founder and owner of Three Kings Ranch and Rehabilitation Center for young men in East Texas. Now, we are a new and up and coming nonprofit organization, but our goal and our mission is to house and educate young men between the ages of 11 to 24 to allow them to become just greater citizens in our world. We're doing everything from teaching them agriculture, sustainability, responsibility, showing them how to help and maintain with animals, all kinds of things just to broaden their horizon.
Awesome. And so tell us, what were you doing before you decided to open this platform to young people?
Well, before, I was actually a chef. I've been a chef for over 20 years. I've had my own business in both South Carolina, Atlanta, and here in Texas. Now, I moved to Texas because I took a contract working with a nonprofit up in Morris County, Texas. That's actually what initially got me started working with foster kids. Based on that contract, I became a CASA volunteer in North Texas, and rewind and say I moved to Texas right after COVID or during COVID. So this was the time when they were housing their older kids in CPS buildings, in unlicensed hotels rooms and things of that nature. So it had an effect on me that made me really want to figure out a way to help these kids, not just at that current moment, but in the future as well, and how to expand their growth to make sure that they were secure, they were safe, and that they understood that they had a support system somewhere in this world.
Okay, awesome. And so what made you, or I don't want to say what made you, but what was the greatest challenge of you transitioning or pivoting from being a chef into this organization?
Oh, wow. So the transition was quite easy simply because it didn't just go from chef to organization. I went from being a chef to being a breast cancer survivor whose doctor recommended that she go back to school to be a nutritionist. And that's actually what I did. I became a nutritionist. And initially, my fight was with food and food insecurity amongst our people. But then once I started to see there was a greater need for service in other areas, that's really what made me take the pivot to childcare and education.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say has been your greatest challenge in this new endeavor, and how did you overcome that?
Well, one of my challenges has been navigating my way through the quote unquote American foster care system. Um, that has been a challenge, not just for myself, but for many people or many individuals who'd like to help in this realm. One way of overcoming that is developing my relationship on a much more personal level with the Department of Family and Protective Services here in Texas. Our organization does a lot to volunteer with the Department of Family and Protective Services so that we ensure that we are always on their, I guess, quote unquote good list, and we have no issues with getting kids, helping kids, doing respite care for other facilities as well.
Okay, awesome. I find that as someone who works with at-risk youth and families here in Indianapolis, Indiana, myself with my own program, I have found it can be very frustrating working with the Department of Child Services, especially with
Sure.
the work that I do, because they expect these children to reach certain milestones or certain markers within a set amount of time, but that is completely unreasonable and impossible when you have children that are 13, 14, 15 years old who have been in trauma or neglect or whatever the case may be since birth. I mean, that is not
Yeah.
something that you can turn around in a matter of 6 weeks.
No, it's not. It is not. And it's almost as if the state evaluation of the situation is not realistic. That is some of the things that we're actually tackling, some of the initiatives that we're tackling with our organization here in Texas. We are actually looking for ways to help improve the foster care system. They have these milestones, but they don't take into consideration the fact that these kids have to make adjustments in their lives probably almost every 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it's shorter than that. I'm a member of a group on Facebook, and I was watching and where one lady was saying she's having trouble with one of her placements, but they can't take them out for another 30 days because that child has been placed in 5 other homes within the past 30 days. So that means that that child has to start over every time they're placed in that home. So there is no way that child is going to meet that milestone or marker that is intended for your placement at that time. So I totally get it and understand exactly where you're coming from.
Exactly. And and I have to commend people that work in these fields like you do, because I myself was once in the system as a child, and even though it wasn't for very long, being one of those teens who became homeless and on their own, you know, there are resources that are needed for young people, not just young people, but those families or parents or guardians who actually want the help, because then you come into the space where you have to teach a child also how to navigate life without the support of a family member or a parent. And
So,
because there are those out there that are like that. And so these foster parents come in,
yeah.
and the good ones, I should say, and have
Yeah.
an amazing impact. And then people like you who have these organizations, who care about their well-being, who take into consideration their whole entire picture, of things, and understanding that there is a psychological and a social and emotional aspect to these things,
It is.
and so if it's constantly changing, it makes it hard. difficult for the child to
So
adjust.
here's the other piece to that. And I want to go back to something you said about homelessness and transitioning. See, that's the biggest reason
Mhm,
I'm only working with older kids in my organization, is because we have
mhm,
identified the pipeline between foster care and the homeless population. Now, something else that I've done is I wrote a book called Unveiling the Tangled Path, and it's a recent book. It's not even out yet. It comes out in October. 60% of the proceeds go towards the ranch. But this book
mhm,
actually talks about the parallels between African American boys in the foster care system and African American men in the prison system. One of the reasons we this organization exists is because we recognize that there is a huge gap, and there is help needed in that gap for these children. That's those children that come out of foster care, and a lot of them don't age out. They just get dropped out of the system because they either go missing, quote unquote, or they have no
mhm,
foster that is actually registering them. So you have children between the ages of 11 and 18 who have no support system. Those are the ones we want to get and acquire from foster care. Now, the ones that's 18 to 24, see, because our program is twofold. That's for those people that transition out of foster care. I'm a boy mom. I'm a mom. I've helped raise my nephews. I have other girlfriends and other people who are on the board of my organization as well, who are also mom and fathers of young men. One of the things that we realize is that these young men that are in the system have no support system. And if you know, like I know, you are not an adult at 18 years old and you're still lost,
absolutely.
you're still wandering around looking for support, looking for help, looking for a direction. We want to make sure that these children know that they are supported, that they are secure, and they're not going to be forced out of our facility at 18. We developed a vocational
Mhm,
program in which we are trying to get grants and more funding for, because we want to ensure that after the age of 18, should you need additional housing, should you need additional support, you don't have to leave where you already are. We want to make sure not only we build a place for foster care kids, but we build a place for kids who are going to need a place to stay regardless. We're building a family, not just an organization.
right, absolutely. So I mean, this 15 minutes goes by so fast. We are down to like 2.5 minutes. So,
I'm
can
gonna
you
come
tell
back on your show,
everyone
I
how they
promise.
can? I would love to have you back. Actually, I would have you on a different show. But um, can you tell everyone if they would like to support your organization or help in any way, or reach out to you and with you? Can you please share how they would do that?
Absolutely. You can find us online, threekingsranchtexas.org, and that's the number three, KINGSRANCHTEXAS.org. You can also find me on social media. All you have to type in is either Chef Cami Red or Cami Red TX, and I am there. You can pull me up on Instagram, on Threads, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere. You can find Three Kings Ranch and Rehabilitation Center on Facebook as well. So reach out to me. My book is online. Several of our other products that we sell to support the ranch is online as well.
Awesome. So, if you could give advice to any young person who may be listening, or maybe someone that serves young people in this capacity, what would that be?
Don't stop moving forward. Just don't stop. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, whatever your purpose is, whatever God has sent to you in a vision, don't stop moving forward. No matter what comes in front of you, trust me, I've seen it all. I'm a single mom. I was homeless. I've had breast cancer. I've been in domestic violence situations. All I'm saying to you is don't stop moving forward. Keep going.
Well, I thank you so much for being my guest on today, and I thank you for coming on here and sharing your organization with us and the work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Business Banger Spotlight with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. Until next time, keep banging in business.